Good morning to all of you, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Alton. Greetings as well to those watching this service remotely. For those of you who don't know me, I am John Herndon, and my pronouns are he, him. The First Unitarian Church of Alton is a small congregation in Alton, Illinois, spiritually led by the Reverend Dr. Claudia Hall. We remember those who come before us. Our ancestors are many, and their collective memories guide and direct us through all of our days. We are conscious of this land that we occupy. The universe has granted us the perfect place for us to grow our food, give us shelter, and give us space for spiritual practice. To that end, we are also conscious that we must protect the land that we borrow so that the generations to come can grow and thrive in harmony and love with the universe that is. We also recognize that the land is stolen and occupied from the first people, the Europeans called the Lanawik, but who call themselves Enoka. Others have come to invade, and seize, while others to live in harmony and share. Our land is baptized in the blood, sweat, and the river of tears from enslaved Africans who were forced from their home and the home of their ancestors to become chattel property here in this land. May our spiritual practice recognize these relationships as we strive to live in harmony with our past, our present, and be forever conscious of the future that we create. We are a spiritual people, a people of faith and love, and we are so glad that you are here, whether in the sanctuary or whether you're watching online. And I welcome everyone to this home of comfort, spirit, justice, and hope. We are Unitarian Universalists. We open our service this morning with a video prelude. This video is from our Teal hymnal, singing the journey number 1043, Shekeli Aldous, sung by the Virtual Sanctuary Choir from the First Unitarian Church of Houston. Please watch and listen to this Transylvania blessing as we remember Francis David using the phrase Ej Aj Ishtan, which translated means God is one. An important ritual in the Unitarian Universalist faith is the lighting of our chalice. Unitarian Universalists have many different interpretations of the flaming chalice, including the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. Join me in celebrating all these reasons and more, and if you're watching elsewhere and have a chalice or candle, please light it now as we all join in saying the unison words projected on the screen. We hallow this time together by kindling the lamp of our heritage. And this morning, I'm also going to light the lamp, this candle here, to St. Carl Sagan, which will feature prominently a little bit in my sermon today. So I have these secular saint candles. I have one for Charles Darwin and one for Carl Sagan. Our opening prayer this morning is entitled The Right to Choose, and this is by Elizabeth Mount. To begin, to start, to create, to undertake, to grow, to promise, to increase, to generate. All these are our birthright. As we are created, so we may create. The ability and the choice to create is sacred. To withdraw that chance from any person without their permission would be a violent act and the cutting off of life itself. And yet, as precious as the right is simply not. To end, to terminate, to stop, to discontinue, to rest, to hibernate, to impede, to prevent. These too are our birthright. For without consent, our ability to create becomes not a blessing, but a burden and an imposition. Without space for a no, there could be no trustworthy yes. Today we come to this holy place and time, ready to invoke the divine, to make space for the sacred, to co-create community once again. This too is a choice. You may not be coerced into relationship with the holy or with one another. I invite you, I ask you to join us. I respect it if you will not today or ever. More sacred than any individual need is choice, the right to know oneself, the right to know what you are ready for, what you need, to stretch when you can, to pause when you will, to know your body, your mind, your spirit better than anyone else, and ultimately, to be trusted with the responsibility of your own living. Our first hymn this morning is number 347, and our hymnal, Gather the Spirit, number 347. Please rise if you would. Gather the Spirit, harvest the power, our separate parts will kindle a flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, our trials in this life appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit of heart and mind. Seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love, conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, winter to spring, and summer to fall, chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. You may be seated. Today's message will hopefully resonate with most of our UU principles, but especially two. Number 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And number 7, a respect for the independent web of all existence, of which we are part. And our story for all ages today comes from the UA worship services, and it's called A Place in Our Cosmos by Erica Hewitt. We humans have always looked up at the stars, wondered about them, even told stories about them. During the many thousands of years that human beings have been looking up at the stars, we've changed our relationship of what the universe looks like and how it works. More than 500 years ago, a man named Nicholas Copernicus was born in Poland. He watched the stars and planets and used his observations to come up with a pretty unique and upsetting idea. In his day, most of the people thought that the earth was at the center of the universe. They also thought that the stars were little holes in a glass ball around the earth. Copernicus thought, what if the universe doesn't move around the earth? What if the earth is actually a planet circling the sun? He wrote a book about this idea, which wasn't popular. If he hadn't died soon after, it's possible he would have been put in jail. Today we all know that Copernicus was right. Our planet Earth circles the sun, which is a star. It took a long, long time, hundreds of years, for people to finally believe this and to stop saying that the Earth was at the center of the universe. But for hundreds of years, the belief that the universe revolves around Earth was so stuck in people's minds that it became part of religion too. It was a kind of religious belief. So when Copernicus said, I don't think the heavens revolve around the earth, he was speaking as a scientist. But the church heard it as a challenging to their religion. There's a word for that, heresy. That meant that not just scientists, but anyone could get in big trouble for promoting the idea that the sun was at the center of the solar system. Believe it or not, this upsetting theory of Copernicus intersects with the story of our Unitarian ancestors. Not far away from where Copernicus watched the planets and stars, there was a land called Transylvania, and a land of rolling hills, green hills, and mountains. Transylvania is where some of the first Unitarians built their churches and formed their faith right about the same time that Copernicus wrote his book about the earth revolving around the sun. Our Unitarian ancestors already knew what it was like to say and believe things that could get them in trouble. One of those things was Ej Aj Ishtin, God is one. When they and we say God is one, we are saying that we don't agree with the Christian doctrine that Jesus was God incarnate. We're saying he was fully human. A lot of Unitarians in Transylvania and elsewhere died because they wouldn't stop believing or saying that. One of the villages in Transylvania today, a part of Romania that's ethnically Hungarian, is Ukland. Its Unitarian church is over 400 years old. Like a lot of Transylvanian Unitarian churches, the church has a wooden ceiling that's divided into deep square panels. Most of them have flowers or plants painted on them. But there's one very special ceiling. There's one very special ceiling panel, a sun surrounded by circling planets. It's a diagram of the Copernican solar system. In Blessing the World, Rebecca Parker writes, holy regard for knowledge is at the center of our religious faith. At a time when religion was opposing science, our ancestors in the remote mountains and valleys of Transylvania built sanctuaries that affirmed the discoveries of science. They did so even when the dominant religious culture advocated ideologies that allowed no new revelation. Let us celebrate these gifts which have been woven into our religious DNA. We belong to a tradition in which religion and science have never been forced apart or asked each other to be silent. We as a people encourage one another to explore and discover, to ask questions and declare that revelation is not sealed and never will be sealed, and to freely follow the call, whatever its source, that connects us most deeply to the world inside of us and to the universe around us. I guess, do we have any children we're singing out today? Doesn't look like we do have, so we will go right to the Joys and Sorrows ritual. As part of our weekly worship service, we take time for the expression of joys, concerns, or sorrows. In front of us is a bowl filled with water, which is right here. Stones available to place in the bowl representing your joys and concerns. Please start on my right and proceed to the left. Take a moment to stop and reflect. Send your energy out to the universe. Place your stone or stones in the water. Our reading today is from a book that's what I kind of based the message off of today, and it's a book called For Small Creatures Such as We, Finding Rituals for Finding Meaning in Our Unlikely World. This book was written by Sasha Sagan, who is the daughter of Andrew and Carl Sagan. In the 1950s, the philosopher Bertrand Russell made the argument that the burden of proof must be on the believer, not the skeptic. He did this by asserting that there is a teeny tiny teapot in space that cannot be perceived by even the most powerful telescope. He suggested that if this idea was supported by ancient books, it would be deemed more likely, even if the ancient books included no proof. We cannot be absolutely sure that there is no space teapot. It's possible there is, but we don't have any reason to believe it. This approach applies way beyond theology. My dad was frequently asked by interviewers and fans if he believed in the existence of extraterrestrials. I don't know, he would say. I don't have enough evidence. This would sometimes frustrate people, and there were a lot of follow-up questions about his gut or his instincts. My dad really wanted to know if there were aliens, and if there were, he wanted to know everything about them, but he refused to let his deepest wishes cloud his judgment. He was a devout scientist. In his book, Pale Blue Dot, my dad wrote, "Science demands a tolerance for ambiguity. When we are ignorant, we withhold belief. Whatever annoyance the uncertainty engenders serves a higher purpose. It drives us to accumulate better data." When a new person discovers my good fortune in being my father's daughter, they often ask, "Well, are you a scientist?" I don't know how many women go into their father's businesses nowadays, but I did not. And yet some strange part of me wants to say yes. Not because I hold a degree in anything more objective than dramatic literature, but because my parents instilled science in me as a job, not as a job, but as a worldview, a philosophy, a lens through which to see everything. Just as not every Catholic is a priest, not every adherent to the scientific method is a scientist. The discussions that fueled my parents' workday flowed over into our dinner time, and that enriched me enormously. They managed to explain even the most complicated concepts clearly without ever talking down to me, with a kind of gentle intellectual respect, as though I was some kind of tiny professor trapped in a little girl's body. I think it's this same skill that made their work accessible to so many non-scientists around the world. During those dinner time discussions, the greatest thing I could do in the eyes of my parents was to ask a question to which they did not know the answer. To them, it was the sign of a curious intellect, scanning the horizon for new mysteries, which might lead to a new understanding I never once got. I never once got the answer, "That's just how it is," or "because I said so." Instead, my father would smiling retrieve a volume of our brown and green Encyclopedia Britannica from above the sort of kitschy 3D glass and neon painted model of the Milky Way galaxy. Together, we would look up the answer and revel in the shared clarity. Sometimes a different reference book was called for. I can still see him standing on the ottoman to get a huge atlas down from the high shelf to resolve some geological or geographic query. For many, reading passages from their holy text offers daily enlightenment and answers to the endless questions that run through our minds. For us, it was the encyclopedia, atlases, dictionaries, and like finding a new verse in a sacred book or reading an old one with fresh eyes, this enriched me emotionally and not just intellectually. Every day I gained a deeper sense of the workings of the world and the universe. Every day I got a little closer to a sense of understanding. Learning to draw connections thrilled me. It made the world less overwhelming. I felt more confident, more brave. The more I learned about history, the more I understood about geography. The more I knew about etymology, the more Latin I could piece together. In those days, every encyclopedia entry I read felt like it was snapping a new puzzle piece together. I thought I might soon see the entire picture. Everyday reality, ritual, and beauty, a secular view of the profound beauty in everyday life. This reflection is centered on ritual and our search for truth and meaning, a daily search for truth and meaning. And as Unitarian Universalists, we are not bound by absolute truths. And our sacred text, we are unbounded by the universe. Daily rituals brings us comfort, a rhythm to our day that brings comfort and predictability. Waking up, and for some people like me, taking our blood pressure first thing in the morning, brushing our teeth, bathing, and for me, the making of the coffee is as sacred as daily prayer is for theistic folks. The coffee reminds me that life is good, life we need to enjoy no matter how bitter. It reminds me to stop, to breathe, and to think. Some Christian religious traditions speak of sacraments, which are told to be rituals that are supposed to remind us of the presence of God in our lives. An example would be communion, in which God's presence is portrayed in a mock display of what I would describe as cannibalism. Sorry, I mock this because I can and because I am a survivor of spiritual abuse. I taunt my captors at every chance that I get. But if you really read the Christian Gospels, you will see that after Jesus' death and resurrection, every time that he appeared to his followers was in the context of a meal. This is no coincidence. These writers wanted us believers to see that the risen Christ was there to feed them spiritually, nourish their souls. The early Christian church was all about life and not death. There were no crucifixes, no crosses in any churches for 300 years. But then the Emperor Constantine decided that he needed a political victory in which he turned Christianity into Amazon. Enter crucifixes, crosses, the culture of death, and cannibalism. My point is that we all have our rituals, our rites that sacramentalize our days. As you may have known, the people that have heard me before, I am an agnostic atheist, and I have said many, many times in this pulpit, and I am not afraid, I have no problem using religious language because I am religious. I'm a Unitarian Universalist, which means that I can seek my own truth, and I can create my own sacraments. And I believe in the universe. I believe with my being that the life that the universe binds us all together and gives us each the ability to think and to meditate or to pray. I have absolutely no problem if anyone wants to believe in a transcendental being called God, or that he or she found the need to place themselves in the person of Jesus, Muhammad, or Buddha, or whomever. But please do not force me to conform to that belief against my will, or to force my government to take sides. I am also a believer in chaos. Most days, my routine rituals play out smoothly, without deviation, but occasionally chaos intervenes, and the usual linear events become more fractal in nature. But again, the presence of the universe is reassuring. Life is sometimes chaotic, but it is constant, and it is the presence. I say all this, but I realize that my words flow from my own white privilege, my ableist privilege. For many people, life is a constant struggle. Life is uncertain. It is a burden. And day-to-day living is a constant struggle. For those who experience economic uncertainty, life is certainly a burden. And the coffee sacrament that I enjoy is a luxury that is far away. I then think that being an agnostic atheist is also an expression of white privilege. People of color and people on the margins experience so much social stress and anxiety that dependence on a transcendent being, faith in God altogether, is the only comfort that they have. Humanity has failed them time and time again. Unitarian Universalism has given me a wonderful gift, the permission to seek my own truth, the knowledge that the answers are not what life is about. The questions are the greatest sacrament to our unorthodox faith. I am a believer. I am a person of faith. I believe this life is all that I have, and I am ready to share my being with everyone I meet. My life is a sacrament and a testament to the universe. I am a child of the universe, and I am a sibling to all who want to live in justice and love. This is the essence, I believe, of Unitarian Universalism. Another quick reading from a book that I had talked about previously too, and it's called When God Is Gone, Everything is Holy by Chet Ramo. He quotes the physicist Heinz Pagels on the beginning of science. The capacity to tolerate complexity and welcome contradiction, not the need for simplicity and certainty, is the attribute of an explorer. Centuries ago, when some people suspended their search for absolute truth and began instead to ask how things worked, modern science was born. Curiously, as it was by abandoning the search for absolute truth that science began to make progress, opening the material universe to human exploration. If one wants to translate Pagel's remark into religious language, it would go something like this: the absence of God makes everything holy. Our next hymn is 1008 in the Teal hymnal. It's called When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. And you may remain seated as we sing this song together. Stewardship is both financial donations as well as volunteering your time, talent, and treasure. We continue to need support for worship, coffee hour, usherings. If you can't write a check, please help our church survive and thrive by offering your time to help. Please give what you can, because all your gifts are needed for our church to prosper. You may mail your financial gift to First Unitarian Church, Post Office Box 494, Alton, Illinois, 62002, or you can give electronically through the Givelify or PayPal links on the church's webpage. If you are willing to donate your time and talent, please contact a board member and let us know when and how you would like to help. Give what you will and what you are able, for you are a generous people. Thanks, Mary. Please join me in our offering prayer. May this offering equip us to inspire love and to seek justice. Are there any announcements today? I didn't see any announcements up here. Does anybody have anything? Ah, yes, thank you. All right, thanks. Very good, thank you. And I would like to thank Robin for inviting me to speak today. I apologize I haven't been here too much in the summer. I do a lot of bike riding in the summertime, and my the crew that I go with, they like to go early in the morning on Sundays. But today will be noon, so anybody out there in the trails at noon will see me out there today. So thank you very much for having me today. I invite you to join me in reciting a prayer as I extinguish the chalice. The light of truth and meaning cannot be put out. We are keepers of this flame until we meet again. And our closing words today will be the prayer to St. Carl, secular St. Carl on the back of this candle. St. Carl, you bade us lift our heads and gaze into the cosmos' ancient afterglow. Galaxies fly from us and seeds of stars all run to darkness. Amidst this beautiful profusion we are as exiles. Fix with your watchful eye each satellite, probe, and rover. Safeguard every message that our mechanical angels may reach far-flung worlds. Grant us brave and sanguine hearts, for we are one dot, attending the skies in the hopes of word from another. Amen. Our postlude today is a video of another hymn from the Teal Hymnal, number 1059, May Your Life Be as a Song, arranged and written by UU singer-songwriter Jim Scott.
A little song for going our separate ways. Our time together comes to an end, and the service begins. My wish for you, as now we part, is for greater peace to fill your heart with dreams as vast as starry space. So hurt and anger know no place. May truth be shared and wounds be healed, and joy for living be revealed. Through every fate and circumstance, may hope lead weary steps to dance, and may your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light, then softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May fears be turned with keen insight to wisdom for what's just and right. Where sorrow grows, compassion strong, and pains will pass before too long. May the bounds of our diversity serve a richer harmony. May courage hold your heart so true to smile on love when it smiles on you. And may your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light, then softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. So this turns out to be a 4-part round. Let's try it. And may your life be as a song. Someone can start again. Resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light, then softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. Ever dance, and may your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light, then softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. Ever dancing circles in the night. Ever dancing circles in the night.
Let's go have coffee. Thank you.